First of all, thank you so much for joining us. It's a great honor and a privilege for us as a secretariat to be able to host our 10th Global Baku Forum, and which is a magnificent, 10 years ago, when we started under auspices of Madam President Vaidevika Freiberger and Dr. Ismail Geldin, a small initiative which turned out to be a grandiose initiative, and where we are hosting so many activities. And I will be short enough in order that to be in time for our night hall session. We prepared one video because it is International Women's Day, and we are so happy. And we have so many talented, amazing, historical personalities, female leaders. And I hope that you will enjoy it, but also to say our condolences to our friends from Turkey, that we are so grateful to have them for the earthquakes that happened and all the casualties they've been facing. That our hearts and our thoughts are with our friends and families in Turkey. And I hope that you will enjoy the video, and then I will be honored to have our co-chairs, Madam President Vaidevika Freiberger and Dr. Ismail, to have remarks.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as my good friend Ravshan Muradov, our incomparable Secretary General, and his young team, we're all here, with even younger volunteers, as we have every year, have carried us year to year, even through the period when we couldn't meet because of COVID. And here we are at the 10th anniversary of the Baku Forum and of the Nizami Ganjavi International Center. I think it has been rightly said that the Nizami Ganjavi International Center is different than most other fora because of all the people who are here have a sense of kinship and family. We know each other, we are friends, we are more than friends. And we agree, we disagree, we fight it out intellectually, but never with hard feelings. Because we are also maintaining the spirit of Nizami Ganjavi, who told his contemporaries to be open to all cultures, to listen to all opinions, to go from each culture and get the pearls of wisdom that are there, and then in the end to frame a beautiful conclusion out of that becomes your own. But you owe it all to your openness to all others. And that spirit, I think, has permeated both our discussions, and I hope we shall certainly see it in this particular 10th forum. I am very sad, of course, like all of you, that we meet at a time when the world is undergoing exceptional difficulties, both at the global level, whether it is climate change or the post-pandemic problems or the loss of biodiversity, the loss of the forests, the problems of food security. And for the first time in the last 20 years, we've had 2 consecutive years where poverty has increased, hunger has increased, and income inequalities have increased. Then clearly the world needs to think through, and that's why we chose the title and the theme of challenges, yes, but hopes also. For we must tap all this wonderful diversity and wisdom that we see here to think through pathways to a better future. We had already achieved 2 miracles, if you think about it. In 2000, all the countries of the world agreed. For once, all the countries of the world agreed on the so-called Millennium Development Goals and said these 8 goals are going to be the goals for development. And we did very well from 2000 to 2015, largely thanks to China, because China's performance in lifting out of poverty a very large number of humans, hundreds of millions of people, was very much at the heart of how we reduced poverty, reduced hunger in those first 15. Then, again, the world got together in 2015 and put together the Sustainable Development Goals. This is an amazing feat. So that roughly from 2000 to 2030, humanity has said, this is what development means, and these are the priorities for all of humanity. All the countries of the world had agreed and signed on. And yet, today, as I said, we have had setbacks, we have had problems, and of course, we know that we have peace and security issues. We have dismantling of agreements like the nuclear agreements that were prevalent at one point. And we therefore have to look again to see how we can recapture the hopes by designing pathways to this better future. I can think of no better group to do this than all of you, and I look forward to our doing this together in the next few days. In the meantime, it is important that we also remember that one of the Sustainable Development Goals, of course, is equality and the removal of discrimination, for indeed the future belongs only to those who will educate their girls and empower women. And I'm sure that this reminder that the United Nations has by adopting today as the International Day of Women is intended to keep us focused on that fundamental truth. I say even my friends at the IMF have finally come to these conclusions. They who used to say, when I was working with them 30 years ago, you know, just the finance, the numbers, and so on, they're now recognizing that focusing on women, focusing on the poor is the way of development, not just focusing on the rich with the ideas that there will be trickle down. But many people in the world today are lost and are thinking about what we can do for the future. And I think your ideas that will come out in this coming set of discussions and panels, which will start even later today, but it's important that we do this. And so, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to talk much more, at least I'm not going to talk much more about this, for I will cede the place to our beloved co-chair, President Vaira Vike-Freiberger. And I have been told, however, by the Secretary General that I have to deliver to you a very harsh message. People at the Fairmont have to be at 8:15 in their buses, and we in the Four Seasons have to be in the lobby at 8:30 to get into the buses. That's 8:15 Fairmont, 8:30 Four Seasons. Housekeeping detail. Madam Co-Chair, please. Madam President.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, we are an organization that has sexual parity in its leadership. Dr. Ismail Serageldin and I have been present since the very birthing pains of what became the Nizami Ganjavi International Center. We have been together, side by side, as equals throughout what is by now the 10th Baku Forum. which was but a dream in the beginning, where at the time it was with the Club de Madrid that we started collaborating because of the convening power of this organization, which has a membership of former heads of state and government. But by now, Nizami Ganjavi International Center has convening power, and very powerful convening power of its own, and it is my pleasant duty to join my co-chair in welcoming you all to this anniversary, this 10th anniversary Baku Forum. Bid you all welcome and remind you that this is an organization that is a bit different than others of its ilk. For one, I'm not sure how many international bodies in the world are named for a poet, and not just a dead poet, but a poet who lived centuries ago, on the cusp between the 12th and the 13th centuries, but whose work we started out by commemorating at one of his anniversaries, because in his 5 epic poems, the Khamsa, he describes Alexander the Great. He describes the Shah Bahramgur of the Persian Empire, and he talks about good governance and what makes for good governance in a society. He describes a society where women have their important place. They are smart, they are active, but of course they are still living in the 12th and 13th century. I'd like to thank you all for having come, for many of you, a very long way. And our thanks are all the deeper and warmer the longer the number of kilometers that you had to cross, and the oceans and the seas across which you came. You are most heartily welcome in a meeting where we pride ourselves on being more than a gathering of minds who are, of course, of the highest intellectual order, of experiences which are quite remarkable, of achievements which range all the way from currently sitting heads of state and government, ministers of state, representatives of international bodies, Nobel Prize laureates, and simply wonderful, wonderful people with interesting and provocative ideas at times. So what we engage you to do is to enjoy the fellowship of this Nizami Ganjavi family. Feel as one of us. Feel that here is a place where we can express our thoughts without having to censure every word we say and risking 15 years of prison for happening to say the wrong word in our expression. Do enjoy the ability to meet with people from different parts of the world who look at the world from a different angle, from a different point of view. And I hope that you will find it as stimulating as I did when I had my first contacts with this part of the world. We are privileged to have here today, on behalf of my country, Latvia, its current sitting president, President Egils Levits, and his spouse, the First Lady, Madame Levitt. We have also former presidents. Latvia is overrepresented. You see, we're punching above our weight. It's overrepresented with President Zatlers, with Presidents Vejons and Presidents Bērziņš. Now you try and beat that next time when you come to the forum. And the former Prime Minister, not to forget that, and a lady Prime Minister, if you please. So ladies and gentlemen, we have here a tradition of friendship, of engagement, of respect for each other, of being open to new ideas and suggestions. When we look around the world today, we see natural catastrophes like world-shattering earthquakes and other disasters of nature. We see a horrible war of aggression going on in Ukraine, terrible suffering and destruction of human lives and futures. And at times we despair about the human condition and what the future might bear for us and our forebears, our children and our grandchildren. But ladies and gentlemen, with minds like yours and experiences like yours, all of them put together, I'm sure that the world will be able to find a way out of all the challenges that we are facing, that our hopes for tomorrow are possible to be realized, but this, of course, with your contribution, with your ideas and your help. Welcome and enjoy the 10th Baku Forum.
Saçın ucun hörmezler, gülü sulu dermezler, sarı gelin. Saçın ucun hörmezler, gülü sulu dermezler, sarı gelin. Bu sevda ne sevdadır, seni mənə vermezler. Neynim eman eman, neynim eman eman, sarı gelin. Bu sevda ne sevdadır, seni mənə eman eman, neynim eman eman, sarı gelin. Bu derenin uzunu, çoban kaytar kuzunu, kuzunu. Bu derenin uzunu, çoban kaytar kuzunu, kuzunu. Ne ola bir gün görem nazlı yarın üzünü. Neynim eman eman, neynim aman eman, sarı gelin. Ne ola bir gün görem nazlı yarın üzünü. Neynim eman eman, neynim eman eman, sarı gelin. Bu derenin uzunu, nazlı yarın üzünü. Neynim eman eman, neynim eman eman sarı gelin. Ne ola bir gün görem nazlı yarın üzünü. Neynim eman eman, neynim eman eman sarı gelin. Gönlüm senin esiri, kalbim senindir yar, kalbim senindir. İnsaf eyle, hoş sözle, məni geldindir yar, məni geldindir. Söyle nedir bu edalar, bu iş ve bu naz? Gider bir gün bu güzellik sana da kalmaz. Yalgızam yalgız, yalgızam yalgız. Gelmeni möhnete orada salan vefasız. Yalgızam yalgız, yalgızam yalgız. Gelmeni möhnete orada salan vefasız. Söyle nedir bu edalar, bu iş ve bu naz? Gider bir gün bu güzellik sana da kalmaz. Dağlar başı dumandır, yine dumandır yar, yine dumandır. Ayrılığın ölümden mənə yamandır yar, mənə yamandır. Söyle nedir bu edalar, bu iş ve bu naz? Gider bir gün bu güzellik sana da kalmaz. Yalgızam yalgız, yalgızam yalgız. Gelmeni möhnete orada salan vefasız. Yalgızam yalgız, yalgızam yalgız. Gelmeni möhnete orada salan vefasız. Söyle nedir bu edalar, bu iş ve bu naz? Gider bir gün bu güzellik sana da kalmaz. Söyle nedir bu edalar, bu iş ve bu naz? Gider bir gün bu güzellik sana da bircə kəlmə can söyleseydim, o bircə kəlmənə min can verərdim. Ömrünü, gününü dərd eyləsəydin, ömrümü, günümü dərman verərdim. Ömrünü, gününü dərd eyləsəydin, ömrümü, günümü dərman verərdim. O çağlar necə də mənə haydılar, könlümə gözümə şəfək yaydılar. Ötən günlərimi qaytaraydılar, gələn günlərimi qurban verərdim. O çağlar necə də mənə haydılar, könlümə gözümə şəfək yaydılar. Ötən günlərimi qaytaraydılar, gələn günlərimi qurban verərdim. Bezdirdim mən səni sədaqətimlə, qaldım həsrətinlə, müsibətinlə. Könlümü alsaydım bu zülmətinlə, sənə bir günəşli cahan verərdim. Könlümü alsaydım bu zülmətinlə, sənə bir günəşli cahan verərdim. O çağlar necə də mənə haydılar, könlümə gözümə şəfək yaydılar. Ötən günlərimi qaytaraydılar, gələn günlərimi qurban verərdim. O çağlar necə də mənə haydılar, könlümə gözümə şəfək yaydılar. Ötən günlərimi qaytaraydılar, gələn günlərimi qurban verərdim. Değdi saçlarıma bahar